All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a real powerhouse of the modern web, Google's Angular framework. It's the engine running behind the scenes on some of the biggest, most complex websites you use every single day, and we're going to break down exactly how it all works.
So think about it for a second. You're on YouTube, you click a video, or you're in Gmail, you open an email. Did you notice how the header and the sidebar just stay put? Only the main content area changes? That super smooth, seamless experience is the magic of what we call a single-page application, or SPA for short.
Now, a developer could try to build this kind of thing using just the basic building blocks of JavaScript. But as our source material points out, that can turn into a massive headache, like really fast. Just trying to manage all that complexity and keep everything in sync, it's a nightmare. So you have to wonder, is there a better way to do this?
Oh, yes, there is. This is the exact problem Google decided to tackle head-on when they created Angular. They designed a framework specifically to make building these super complex applications much, much easier.
So what is Angular exactly? Well, it's a framework built on a language called TypeScript. You can think of TypeScript as just JavaScript, but with extra safety features built in that help developers catch mistakes before they ever become a problem. And the whole thing is maintained by Google, with its main purpose being to build those powerful SPAs we were just talking about.
And this isn't some little niche tool we're talking about. It's trusted by some of the absolute biggest names in tech. Companies like Microsoft, Samsung, and PayPal all rely on Angular for their major applications. I mean, that's a huge vote of confidence in just how reliable and powerful this thing is. Okay, so we know the what and the who, but what about the how? How does it actually work? Let's break down the core idea that really makes Angular tick. The big idea at the heart of Angular is something called a component-based architecture. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the concept itself is actually beautiful in its simplicity. You just break down your entire user interface into smaller, self-contained, and reusable parts. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like you're building with digital Legos. Seriously, the header is one block, the sidebar is another, and hey, each of those video thumbnails on YouTube, that's its own distinct little piece. Each block has its own code, it can be easily reused, and it keeps the entire application incredibly organized. And here's another piece of Angular's magic. It's called two-way data binding. This is this incredibly powerful feature that automatically keeps your application's data, the logic, and what the user is actually seeing on the screen, the view, perfectly in sync. So why is that such a big deal? Well, imagine you're filling out a form online. With two-way data binding, the application's data updates instantly as you type. Or if new data comes in from a server, the form on your screen updates to match it. The key is that it all happens automatically, which saves developers a huge amount of time and effort. Now, if you've been in the web development world for a little while, you've probably heard two different names thrown around, AngularJS and Angular. And yeah, it's caused a lot of confusion over the years, so let's clear it up right now. Okay, so here's the story. The original framework, born way back in 2010, was called AngularJS. It was a huge deal. Then in 2016, Google released a complete from-the-ground-up rewrite, and they called it simply Angular. The thing is, these two are fundamentally different. Now, official support for the old AngularJS ended years ago, so you'd think it would be gone, right? But it's not. So why on earth is it still sticking around?
Well, it really just comes down to a classic business problem. For these massive companies that built their core systems on AngularJS years and years ago, migrating everything to a new framework is just an enormous, expensive, and really risky project. If the old system still works, and it's stable, the cost of changing can be pretty hard to justify.
And that's because even though it's technically dead, AngularJS still has its own hidden strengths. It's incredibly stable, it's predictable, there's a mountain of documentation and resources online, and for a lot of these well-established applications, it's still more than powerful enough to get the job done. So that's the story of the ghost in the machine. But let's bring it back to the present and look at why modern Angular, that completely rewritten version, is still such a dominant force in web development today. Okay, I absolutely love this analogy from our source material. It just captures Angular's whole philosophy perfectly. See, Angular isn't just a library, it's a complete, all-in-one framework. When you choose Angular, you get the whole kitchen. The stove, the fridge, the countertops, everything you could possibly need is already built right in.
And that whole kitchen approach comes with some serious advantages. It's built with TypeScript, which means more robust code with fewer errors. It includes essentials like routing, which is just how an app navigates between different pages right out of the box. Then you add in the stability of being backed by Google and getting constant updates, and you've got a really, really powerful package.
So what's the big takeaway here? At the end of the day, Angular is what we call an opinionated framework. It has strong ideas about how things should be done, and that's what makes it such a comprehensive and incredibly stable solution. If your goal is to build a large-scale, professional application that's going to be around and maintained for years, Angular gives you the structure you need to do it right. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought. In a tech world that seems to prize flexibility and moving fast above all else, is there maybe an even greater power in a framework that provides stability, structure, and everything you need all in one box? It's really a debate between building your own kitchen piece by piece versus starting with one that's already been professionally designed. Definitely some food for thought. Thanks for joining us.